This is TWiT.
Hey, buddy. Are you a geek? Are you a tech enthusiast? Then I would love to invite you to join a tech community like no other. You can gain exclusive access to our incomparable quality tech content for just $7 a month with Club TWiT. As a member, you'll enjoy all TWiT TV shows ad-free. Plus, access private video feeds for insider shows like iOS Today, Home Theater Geeks, and so much more. Dive into the members-only TWiT Plus bonus feed for behind-the-scenes content, club discussions, and special events. But here's the best perk. Join our incredible Discord community to watch live show productions, chat with hosts, and participate in exclusive members-only activities. It's your backstage pass to the world of TWiT. Whether you're a tech enthusiast or a lifelong learner, Club TWiT elevates your knowledge while entertaining your interests. Get 2 weeks free when you sign up now for $7 a month and unlock unparalleled access at twit.tv/clubtwit. That's twit.tv/clubtwit. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you and welcome to the club.
Hello, and welcome. Let me know if you can't. Okay, good, you can. Welcome to the ultra super cozy Mikah's Crafting Corner. Hello, Chocolate Milk Mini Sip. I'll be with you for about an hour today. We are continuing in our work on Jason's kitchen that we are slowly but surely building out. I wanted to give a quick hello and moment, I guess, for the people who are currently impacted by the wildfires or the fires in Southern California. I hope if you have family, friends, etc. in those areas that they're doing okay, despite the life or the loss of property and items. Today, as we always do, we are working through. I'm happy to hear that, Mike. Mike says, made it back home 2 nights ago. House is still here. So last time we were together, we built the big window. This time, we are working on a grinder, and if we have time, I think we'll move on to a small jar. So I have both of these pieces. Originally, I had this for the big window, as you'll see from my notes, but there's no way I was going to fit that entire big window into this small bag. So we switched it over to the grinder and the small jar. So first and foremost with this piece, we need to join the blocks of wood together using glue. These are a lot smaller than you might imagine. It appears there are 4 pieces. Ha ha ha, Chocolate Milk Mini Sip. You know, it's funny, when I read the name of that item before the show, I thought, oh dear. So, we have these very, very small pieces. You can see next to my pinky finger, that's how small the larger of the pieces are. And we are going to take these, and on the long edges, we will be gluing the smaller pieces beneath those edges. So I will grab my glue. Still got some tack to it, which is good. Not tact, but tack. And we'll apply some glue on there. take the small piece, place it on the side, like so. The other small piece, and place it on the side, like so. Wow, this is very delicate work today. And I just want to make sure that when it gets to the drying stage, that everything is where I want it to be. And then we will take the glue and apply it to the top. Happy New Year, by the way, to everyone. This is our first episode of the new year. Hello, Steve. I hope your new year is going as well as can be expected for whatever version of that it might mean for you. Yeah, I knew this was going to be troublesome because we've got such small pieces. So I'm going to place this down on the mat to kind of force all of the pieces to align. And then what we'll do is we will take our tweezers. Actually, we'll take this small, it's called a weeder, a weeding tool, and we will use that to kind of realign things a little bit. Until we get it just where we want it. I'm going to flip this over and do the same on this side. There we go. Now we are truly getting somewhere, which makes me a happy camper here. Because again, this is kind of a difficult little piece to work with. And I make the slightest adjustment and the whole thing starts to misalign. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to leave that alone because if I keep messing with it, what's going to happen is it's going to get, well, as it just did, it'll get misaligned again. So if I was normally working on something like this, what I would have done off camera is taken the piece on the bottom and placed these two pieces on top and waited until they were dry before placing the part on top of it. I just got a prompt on Discord that I need to, there we go, address. So if I had more time, essentially, to let these pieces kind of cooperate, that is what I would have done. All right, now I'm leaving it alone. Our next step is to paste the brown cardboard as shown. So it looks like A has two pieces and B has two pieces. So B needs to have B, we'll go B for brown, meaning that both pieces need to have brown up. Whereas A is going to have one brown facing one way and one brown facing the other. Like so. So we'll take the glue and we'll apply it to the smaller of our pieces. You know, I should have brought in this weeding tool a lot sooner. It's a nice tiny little hand that I can use. I think we're developing a pro tip together. So we'll take the smaller and place it on the larger here, press down, and then I am just giving it a quick look to make sure it's all lined up. Then, with this one, remember, we're going opposite. Like so. And once again, stacking those to make sure they are aligned. Happy with that. Now it wants us to take those pieces and place them onto our wooden block. So the wooden block still on its side with the sandwich parts on the left and right. So we'll take the B, the brown piece, put that on the bottom, B, bottom, brown. Then we'll take a little bit of glue here. Place that down. Like so. Excellent. And then we're going to take the top piece and we'll place that on the top. Just a little dab of glue there. And we're using that hole in the middle to help us kind of align things. But I can also place the block on its side. Press down just a tad to further help us align, like so. Ta-da. And then it wants us to take a very small piece of, it's sort of like a cardboard leather. It's cardboard with this texturized paper on the front that is reminiscent of leather. And it wants us to put that little piece on the front. So I'm actually going to grab my tweezers now. And we'll place it. like so. And drop that on the front. Just like that. Actually, I think I want that to be up just a hair. It's supposed to resemble the drawer on the front of an old school coffee grinder. And so it wouldn't be quite flush with the bottom. There we go. Now we can put that off to the side to dry. Hi, Mac Fixer. I can tell you, for those of you who are tuning in, we are building Jason's Kitchen. That's what it's called, Jason's Kitchen. This is a little miniature. And Chocolate Milk Mini Sip asked how my dogs are sort of getting used to the change in climate. After having lived in California for so long, my girl, Mizzy, she hates rain. She's okay with snow, but she hates rain. And all it does in Portland is rain. It does not snow, really. So she's none too pleased when it's raining outside. My boy Henry, he is a full-bred Chihuahua, and his mom was it his mom? I think it was his mom. No, it may have been his dad. One of them was a long-haired Chihuahua, one of them was a short-haired Chihuahua, and he actually exhibits both. So what it results in is a dual coat for him. So he is insulated to the max and does not care about the rain, the snow, whatever it happens to be. He can't feel it. But Mizzy, she's Fox Terrier Chihuahua mix, and her hair is not, it doesn't have any undercoat. It doesn't have anything like that. And so a drop hits and it goes down into her skin. She can feel it, and she hates that so much. So yeah, that part's been difficult. She's getting more used to it, but it's not great fun for her. Meanwhile, he doesn't seem to mind whatever it is. He's happy to trek around outside for a long time if he wants. I just got a new light therapy lamp because I am not handling the lack of sunshine very well. I grew up in Missouri. We have all the seasons. Our winters do have very short days, but it's been a long time since I've been there. And then I've been in sunny California where that hasn't been a thing. Coming here, it's back. And the problem is that even on days when, or even in the months leading up where you do have longer days, it's still overcast most of the time. So I'm adjusting. And I was very impressed by how quickly the light therapy is working. Whether that's placebo or not, I don't care, because it works. Which is great. Interesting. Previous Mikah did not include the wires in the bag for this grinder, this coffee grinder. So I need to go looking for the proper wire. Fine brown metallic wire. Length of 4 centimeters. guess I have a bone to pick with him, huh? He's slacking. They do have, I mean, a lot of yarn is by its nature, because of the material it's made of, pretty water repellent. And I actually have made them clothes. I actually, they have a few different options. Some they like, some they don't. They both have raincoats, and they are the cutest raincoats. I can tell you that. But they aren't super big into them. I don't blame them, you know. It's when they say that in many cases, and until the dog gets super used to wearing clothes, it feels like what they think at first is that there's a dog like grabbing them or some other thing grabbing them. So that can be a little frightening, right? Okay. So I've got some brown wire. And we need a length of 4 centimeters, otherwise known as 40 millimeters. Got a ruler here. So what I like to do when I am measuring wire for these miniatures is use a craft blade to make a mark on the wire. Because it is almost always the case that the craft blade is made of a metal that is much harder than the metal of the wire that you're using in this case. And then when you go to cut it, your wire cutters will slide right into the groove that you made with your mark. It becomes very easy. Burke says that for Lily, his dog, is a windbreaker for her. But the problem is the zipper is on the bottom, which means it's a whole process to be able to get it cut off. Cut off, get it zipped up. I was reading the instructions at the same time as I was responding to that. The first mark that we're going to make is at 0.6 millimeter or 0.6 centimeters. And the second one is I think 25 millimeters. That's odd. Must be 25. So 2.5. No, that doesn't look right. Exactly, chocolate milk. So, look at this. It suggests that the wire needs to be marked at 25 millimeters and at 6 millimeters. But what I can't tell is if this area here is just 25 millimeters and then 6 more on the bottom, or if it's saying it's 25 total, but then also make a mark at the 6 millimeter spot. especially since it wants you know what? We are just going to try it. So the first thing we'll do is we will take the end and we're going to bend that end back so that it makes a kind of circle. Make a circle, and then we bend it up to make an L shape. Sorry that I'm not keeping it in the camera. There we go. Then we take it I'll tell you, the wire work is my least favorite part of miniature creation. Because I'm very precise. I like to be a very precise person. And bending wires I have found for me is never as precise as I want it to be. Especially at this scale. Now we're going to take a small bead and paste it inside of a larger bead. Like so. And then we are meant to take the wire and place it through. Now this is going to be annoying, so I need to pull this away from the craft cam for a second, because I have to get it through the large bead into the smaller bead and keep that smaller bead glued down. And it definitely wants to come unglued like I do when the beads aren't aligning. And now we bend at mark B. So folks, we followed the right process, because it was that photo earlier had basically cut off the entirety of the wire in the photograph. It sort of made the end of it kind of disappear. And it was just showing that on one end, it wanted you to make 2 marks. So we are good to go there. And then what we're going to do is bend the wire at the B spot that we just made earlier. And then it wants us to bend the wire again. And we're going to go up this time. Because essentially we're making a little handle, as you can see. So now we will glue the handle on top of the grinder cabinet, the coffee grinder cabinet. I'm actually going to do a little adjustment here. This is exactly what I was talking about when I was complaining about wire work. Now we can place some glue atop the coffee grinder cabinet. Too much? Alas. And then a very, 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 very tiny bead. Will be placed atop the wire. Did I mention it was a tiny bead? Oh, I think this is going to require our super glue friend. When your super glue lid comes off because your super glue is super glued. Good golly. And then you drop your lid on the ground. Somebody's out to get me. And its name is Gorilla Glue. So I'm putting a little bit of that, what is it, cyanoacrylate on the end. Now, I've mentioned before that you have to be careful when you're using super glue with these miniatures in particular because, and I don't mean that in like the safety sense, I mean that in the aesthetic sense, because depending on what part you're working with, you may have some paint that kind of reacts to the super glue, which causes it to look bad. Plain and simple. And then we've got one more bead. That goes on the front of this and acts as a drawer pull, not door pull. Wow. This is perhaps the most terrible job I've ever done on a miniature. It's just everything's a little wonky. Luckily, with this craft glue, the thing that works against you can also work for you, because while there is still some give, you can make some adjustments to get it exactly how you want it. So there we go. That's better. Burke says just about all DIY paints, save for enameled paints, are going to react in some way to super glue. Yeah, so the textured stuff, like the paper, doesn't have that reaction because it's not paint. But other things like the coating on this bead might react. And it's mostly been for some of the bigger wood pieces that, again, have some form of like plasticky paint on them, or plasticky sealant that has a color that therefore makes it like paint. Okay. That's that. That's the coffee grinder. Now we're working on the small jar. There are two large bead pieces and one small white pearl. It's not a real pearl. And those will combine to make a jar. One of the easier builds, components. So we paste the top and the bottom like so. Give it some firm pressure. Can pressure be not firm? Perhaps light pressure. And then a bead on top. A bead of glue for a bead. And et voila, we have a cute little egg jar Thank you, Kelly, for being a subscriber. And thank you for your kind words. I'm glad you enjoy this as much as I do. These easy, breezy, cozy crafting moments. All right, next we're going to make a bucket. And this bucket is almost entirely made of paper. Brown metallic wire, light copper metallic wire. I've learned that it's very important that you don't get your pieces mixed up. And by that I mean when it comes to wires, they have them arranged just right so that if you try to use a piece from something else, you won't have it for something else. So really, by that I mean, this says length of 36 millimeters, light copper metallic wire as figure. If we go back and we look at the grinder, it says length 40 millimeters, fine brown metallic wire. Again, fine brown metallic wire versus light copper metallic wire. And those are not the same thing. You need to find the one that is the light copper metallic wire. All of my paper cut stuff, that's what they call them. The pieces that you cut out, they just call them paper cut. Oh wow, I think I did cut the pieces. I didn't have enough faith in previous Mikah, and that's on me. There's actually a needle and thread in here, interestingly enough. So 36 millimeters, 3.6 centimeters. We'll do what we did before. Make the mark. With our craft knife. Come through with the wire cutters. And then we need to go spelunking for paper cut K48 and K49. I've written on the back of all of them. I honestly don't recommend, after having done one without this, of kind of pre-prepping everything, I don't recommend pre-prepping everything. One of the main reasons is everything is placed into specific bags. And if you pre-prep everything and put them in your own bags, then you might struggle to find what you're looking for. And if you put all of the paper pieces in one instead of just waiting to cut them out whenever you are working on that component, then you're looking through hundreds of cutouts. I'm going to have to dump this out. And also hope that I don't lose any of the important pieces. I found K49 at least. And look how small this is. A little thumb. It's just my little thumb. They'll occasionally include extra components for the harder to cut out pieces, but not always. I found it. There's K48. Now I've got to get all the rest of this back in this bag. Wow. Thank you, dear friend, for donating $10. I have absolutely no skill at doing small scale stuff like this, so I'm always impressed with people who do, just looking at all those small pieces and making my spine tense up. Meanwhile, your illustration abilities make my spine tense up in, is it envy? I always forget there's a right one and a wrong one to say. I think jealousy. Goodbye, Mac Fixer. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, for joining us, for hanging out. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow for Tech News Weekly. Got just about 11 minutes left. And good luck with what you got going on with work. But yes, your illustration abilities are just so cool. And also just your creativity, your ideation. Very clever, which I've always appreciated about you as well. Well, you know, for as long as you've been a part of the viewership, listenership. All right. Now that we've got K48 and K49, believe it or not, this is exactly what you're talking about. I have to go in and, again, I'm trying to think of something because my pinky is, well, I'll just do it to scale. This is just a little over a centimeter in size, and I need to go in there and cut that white area, which is about a millimeter in size. That's awesome, Chocolate Milk Mini Sip. What did you have for dinner? Chocolate Milk Mini Sip says, I don't know if you'll be happy to know or not, but you are my TV entertainment tonight for supper. Absolutely, I'm happy to know that. That's so kind. Okay, let's try to cut this. I'm going to have to get in the way of the camera for a moment, folks, so just bear with me. There we go. Yeah, it does kind of look like a small dog bone. So what we will do is it wants us to fold, it wants us to fold K49 in half and also fold K48 in half. So it kind of adds some strength to each piece. Now, for the sake of alignment, I did leave a little bit of the dog bone, as it were, on there, which I'll go back and trim off with the X-Acto knife. Potatoes, green beans, and pork steak. That sounds good. There we go. Yeah, I'm happy with that alignment. Honestly, those little donations are awesome because then I get to go into our company Slack and brag about how Micah's Crafting Corner is brigaded somebody. Outside of just because you are members and you are interested in it that way, to be clear, that also is a good thing. So it appears that we fold it all the way in half. This piece is a little bit easier because we've got a lot more to work with here. And I'm not trying to saturate it in glue, but I do want to kind of get the edges here. And then, as I said, we'll fold it over. Like so. Kind of a cool pattern on this. And then it wants us to wrap it around like the head of a pen or something similar, to be able to shape it as a sort of conical, I should say. It's not quite, it's conical in shape. So we place a little bit of glue on here, and then that gets folded over. I actually want to kind of air this out a little bit so it's a little bit more tacky when we apply it. I wish they also included the pen piece. Because I have pens, but they're all different sizes. What do I want to use for this? Here we go. Pencil. So we'll take this and wrap it around. And the idea again is to have one side that is a smaller opening. If I was fully on brand, I would like 3D print the perfect shape to wrap this around. But I'm not sure I'm that particular. That seems good. I'm happy with that. So now, see, this is what happens. You get it just how you want it, and then you go pressing some more. Somebody needs to shout, "Leave it," at me, because it's pretty good. And yet, I keep making little adjustments. There, that actually makes me quite happy. Wow. Time flies, doesn't it? All that's left for this piece is we're going to poke some holes into it. And those holes will be where we place the handle, at which point this bucket will be ready. So we'll finish this up next month on Mikah's Crafting Corner. As always, I want to thank you all for taking the time to join me today on Mikah's Crafting Corner. Thank you for the donation, by the way. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being members of Club TWiT. It's an absolute pleasure bringing this show, this little fun moment to you each week or each month. And don't forget that if you are a member, you can refer your friends. So be sure to do that as well to earn months of Club TWiT for free. Thanks so much. And I'll see some of you, many of you tomorrow for Tech News Weekly. Have a lovely, wonderful, awesome evening, everyone. Or whatever time it happens to be where you are.